You're from D.C. Did you actually grow up in D.C.?
I grew up, born and raised in Washington, D.C.
Where in D.C.?
Northwest, so I'm like, probably, I'm above Howard University where I grew up.
Okay. And you went to high school near there?
I actually went to Catholic schools all my life. So kindergarten through 8th grade, I was at St. Augustine's, which was 14th and B Street, Northwest. And then I attended Bishop McNamara High School, which is in Forestville, Maryland, 9th through 12th grade.
And have you always been a singer? How did you get started with singing?
Well, my mom is a singer, and I started singing in church, in the Catholic church, at 3. I was the youngest choir member in the traditional choir, holding up a book, and I could not read anything. Let's see, we had a school choir, and actually the earliest you could join the school choir was in the 4th grade, so I was able to be in the school choir in the kindergarten at 5 years old because my brother was in the choir, and I had to wait for him anyway. So, but most of my singing started in church at 3. Because of that, I did not want to sing. I didn't really start taking singing serious until I turned 16 years old. I wanted to be a dancer, so my mother had also put me in dance classes at 3. And so I danced. I still dance now, but I formally trained up until I was like maybe 18 years old. And I started really taking singing serious once I formed a singing group at 16 years old.
Wow. So were you performing at all in theater in high school, or was it mostly just the dance?
Mostly just dance. And what my dance troupe used to do, we used to work with the Department of Parks and Recreation. So we would do Christmas plays at Crampton Auditorium, and which we would do, you know, that would incorporate the singing with the dancing. So that was mostly, you know, my first introduction into musical theater. I was 3, I was a flower in Santa Comes to Cabbage Patch Land. And my mother was a vegetable in the patch, and my brother was a Cabbage Patch Kid. So it was a family thing. Let's see. Then, I guess about let me go back. About 14 years old, we were doing one of those Christmas plays, and a bunch of my friends and I, we loved to sing. But, you know, again, dance was our first love. So we formed this group called Six. And it was SIXX with an extra X because we had an extra boy. So it was actually seven of us, and we just thought we were so cool. 6. So we ended up traveling with our dance group, which was DC Showbiz Kids. So our dance teacher would allow us to perform with the kids. So when we had a break and everybody else was changing off on the side, we would have a chance to sing a song. So that's how it kind of started. And then actually grew from there, you know, actually some of the kids falling out with just maybe three girls standing, and then we changed from 6 to Visions. And from Visions, we would perform at the Carter Barron, opening up for the Stylistics, the Dramatics, and the Shy-Lights. That's where we opened up with Will Downing and Gene Carn. We also got a chance to perform at President Bill Clinton's first inaugural ball in D.C.
What kind of things were you singing?
You know, we would sing My Boyfriend's Back and You're Gonna Be in Trouble. Hey, my boyfriend's back. You know, things like that. We would also do, my mother was our vocal coach, I should add. And so she was really, really good with finding songs that we could, you know, learn that was good for us off the radio. So, you know, Brandy songs or anything, you know, like that. But we were still able to keep the dance, which is what we love, which made it fun.
So you were dancing and singing?
We would dance and sing. Oh, wow. Yeah. And it was a local group of, not local group, but a nationally known group called Immature. And we would open for them at Constitution Hall. And every time they would come in, we would be able to be the opening act for 30 minutes, and we would perform our thing. And from there, we got recognized. A lot of people wanted to sign us, which was Boys to Men. We supposed to work with them at one point. We were also Teddy Riley, which was one of the original members of a group called Guy, and which turned into Blackstreet. We got a chance to work with him. We were supposed to actually move down to Virginia Beach and work with him. But we had a chance. We were very young, and our parents were very, of course, protective. So education was number one for us and for our parents as well. And just if anything looked sketchy, our parents wasn't having it. So things looked sketchy, we weren't having it. So, but that was kind of like how I kind of like got the kick into singing.
And did you tour with them outside DC, or was it mostly local stuff?
Mostly local stuff. Every time they came into DC, Virginia, Maryland area, we would see them.
So your parents were pretty supportive of you pursuing singing?
Oh yeah, my mother, yes. My mother worked for Verizon for most of my life, 33 years. And she would sing on the side. So she would, but she was a working mom because she put both my brother and I through Catholic schools. And single mom, I grew up with my grandmother in the household as well. So she would travel to Japan and to different countries as well, singing with the group Leon C. Roberts and Roberts Revival. With Roberts Revival, we would travel to Hawaii doing a Catholic, they would have a Catholic conference there on the Big Island called Hilo, and we would be there for like weeks doing this workshop with them and teaching new songs, and people would come from all over the place to Hawaii to participate in this workshop. So I first started traveling with Leon C. Roberts and Roberts Revival at 14 years old.
Wow. And how long did you do that?
My Uncle Leon, he passed away.
This is literally a family.
Well, I grew up with him, so in our church, everyone became my uncle and my auntie. But he was my first piano teacher. He was my first. He's the first person that recognized that I could sing. He was not only was he over the church's choirs, the traditional choir and the gospel choir, but he was also over the school choir as well. So he was a major influence as far as the growth and development and training for myself when it comes to, music comes to me quickly because of him.
Yeah. So any questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where's your mother now?
My mother is here. She lives in D.C. Well, she's not here, but she has my son. I'm sorry. She has my son, but she has come to she and my son actually has come to see the show. But she's still living in D.C. She's retired since, and for like I guess 5 years now, and it's great.
And your dad?
Was not raised with my dad. My dad and my mom divorced when I was 2. Didn't really get a chance to have a relationship with my dad. His choice, not my mother's choice. We lived in the same house, still to this day, the first house that they purchased back in the 70s. So I did have a chance to speak with my dad, though, when he first heard that I was pregnant with my son. But for some reason, the connection just didn't follow through on his part. So, but he's still living in D.C. as well somewhere.
No, you mentioned your brother was in the choir. Has he gone on with a singing career or continue singing?
No, actually my brother is now, he's an excellent writer. He's into animation and comics, so he does that. He also has a son. So my nephew and my son are the same age, just a week apart from each other. They're 2. They'll be 3 in April. My brother's 7 years older than me. How did that happen? I have no idea. That we ended up having a baby together. But he's more into. He didn't really stick with the singing, and he actually joined my dad's troupe at a certain time back when we were younger. But writing is his thing, so a couple of my original songs that I have, my brother has written for me. But yeah, he works in the medical field as well, as far as like doing medical billing and things like that.
Thank So how did this all transition into school? What made you decide to go into singing versus dancing?
Well,
Why AMDA?
why AMDA? First, let me say I was very into my school. As far as all of my schools, I participated in cheerleading in kindergarten through 8th grade, varsity cheerleading squad 9th grade through 12th, and chorus once I got to high school. And I just know that college is not for everyone, and if I could find a place where I could groom my craft, I wanted to do that, and that's why I chose AMDA, because AMDA is a 2-year conservatory study, and strictly just you groom. They do give you dance, acting, and singing, and they also provide you with a vocal coach, and you get your music theory that you need, and it's they help you with the proper things that you would need as far as auditioning, and then you're in the city, in New York City. So you can't go wrong when you're trying to go to theater in the city. So that's why I chose AMDA. And it was great for the first year. And then something happened that, I don't know, my teachers and I, we didn't click. As far as certain things that they would try to hinder me from doing, as far as my song choices, they would tell me that I couldn't do that because I would never be a belle on Broadway. So, or you can't do this song because your voice is just too big for that, or just the restrictions that I did not care for, and for the amount of money that I'm paying for, I felt like you should, if I'm here training, give me the training that I would need to do that type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky having gone to a theater conservatory. There's always that balance with them trying to get you to work in the field, and inevitably, most people in the field who work need to fit certain criteria, and that's what they're kind of working towards, is getting you to fit into molds so that you can work, versus really cultivating an artist or cultivating an individual. It's not necessarily there.
But I didn't think that I mean, I can do motor mouth, but I can also do classical. I can also do the astonishings and the Don't Rain on My Parade.
And you don't feel like they were really open to...
Not open to giving me anything. I mean, the closest that I got was Your Daddy's Son from Ragtime. Everything else was like I Got Love, which was Big Bell, from Pearly, Melba Moore. Anything else that was big and bright, and I'm like, yeah, I can do that, but I can also do the other thing too. And I wanted a chance at doing that.
Yeah.
And if I felt like the teachers should have at least been willing to give me a chance, and if they felt with one-on-one work, because luckily I did get a chance to have a lot of one-on-one work. Not everyone did, but then if they felt then that it didn't work, then that'd be something different. But to keep pushing me onto these belty songs, these high belt, strong, singing your face type thing, because not every audition you want to do that.
No.
Because not every audition calls for that.
Yeah.
So I needed to have some, different things in my repertoire.
So did, you said the first year, so that was there any kind of specific thing that caused that shift from year to year? Or was it just a realization that you weren't singing that with the teachers?
It was just a realization that, I don't know, I just was not happy. And for me to be away from home and not happy was not something that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have to get accepted back. I did get accepted back. I just declined.
For the second year. So you only went there for 1 year. So what did you do after?
Well, after that, I went into auditioning. And I actually in New York, yes, I did. Okay. And my first big show that I got, I should also say that I hooked up with Roberta Flack. And while in New York, my godfather was Roberta's background singer, and he also worked as her assistant on the side. So I kind of like grew up with her in my life, but never got a chance to work with her because I was in school and I was in D.C., she was in New York. But moving to New York, I was able to get more acquainted with her and got a chance to work with her as well. And so once I left New York, she took me on as her, what should I say, prodigy. She started mentoring me, and shortly after that, I was able to perform with her. Because unfortunately my godfather got sick, and he was unable to travel with her as much because he had both of his kidneys failed, and he needed to be on dialysis 3 days a week. But I was able to step in because I knew the material and she trusted me. And so I started working with her, and I guess my first show was with Prince Bandar in Aspen, Colorado for his New Year's Eve party. And with Natalie Cole, which was unbelievable. And it was kind of like one of those things where it's like, is this really happening? Pinch me, because he sent his private jet to something, and we flew from New York in his private jet to Aspen, Colorado, and it kind of like happened like that. It's very surreal.
You were singing backup for her?
I was singing backup with her, and I got a chance to actually sing with Peebo Bryson as well, A Whole New World and Beauty and the Beast at that.
You're Whitney.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Would you say that, not to put you on the spot, because I would love to see you perform, would you not say that you was out of the norm for minorities? Because you was spoiled, huh?
Yeah. I don't know. I would say that I don't know if I'm out of the norm, but I don't think that I think that I'm blessed as far as the training and the people who I've had in my life as far as grooming me and grooming my craft and helping me to understand that you have to live, breathe, and eat whatever it is that you're going to do, and you can't play with it. So as far as music is my life. I don't know anything else. Theater is my life. I'm happiest when I'm on stage. Should I say, I'm happiest when I'm with my son now, who's my love, but I'm happier as well. I'm happy as well once I'm able to perform. So yeah, I'll say that I'm very blessed.